The internet is under attack, and it's not only under attack by Karens, it's under attack by legislators, and it's under attack in a big way. And they say that the excuse is that they want to go out and they want to protect children. But instead of putting actual ads out there or campaigns out there to tell parents to be, better parents, stop having your kids just be online all day or on video games all day. And as a father of four, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of days when the kids just chill at the house. They hang out. They play video games. I got no issues with it. But they also get outside. They go play. They got friends all over town. They go to the park, so on and so forth, right? They get out, they go, they experience the world. And my wife and I also do our best to monitor everything that they watch. Are we going to catch everything? No. However, instead of going out and doing a marketing push to be like, parents, stop sucking, what do? They try to push laws and they try to push companies into passing these arbitrary laws that only do one thing. And it literally penalizes the upstanding members of society. Anybody have to hand over their identity and their actual license or any sort of ID card to access Spotify lately? Well, turns out a lot of people in the UK are actually having to do this. These laws are coming down in such a way that is absolutely insane. And I cannot believe how many of them in quick succession got passed literally the week after Visa and MasterCard and PayPal started banning a bunch of stuff. That's a really, really big coincidence. This is how most world governments are actually talking with each other, because when you start seeing multiple countries, hey, Bone Donkey, what's going on, dude? Oh my God, I love your name. I miss saying that name. Anyway, wait, out of curiosity, are you subscribed to Donut Operator, to his live chat? Because I thought I heard your name get mentioned the other day in the Donut Operator live stream. Anyway, or in one of his videos that I was watching on Donut Operator TV. But moving on, I want to get into this. This is a video from Upper Echelon. He used to be Upper Echelon Gaming. I know a lot of people, some people probably have problems with him. I don't know. I like the way he breaks stuff down. Everybody has problems with every YouTuber. I don't care. It's possible. It's possible, or is it probable? But let's get into this here from Upper Echelon, the war against the internet.
There is a war against the anonymity of the internet, which is currently being waged in the background of public perception. Most of us don't really think about this, at least not on a day-to-day level.
So
once in a while.
The first time I listened to this last week when he dropped it. There is a war against the anonymity of the internet. Remember that philosopher extraordinaire or psychologist extraordinaire, Jordan Peterson, was calling for the end of internet anonymity online because he was getting a lot of pushback. So as strong as Jordan Peterson's opinions about psychology were, turns out his spine was not that strong when it came to the internet and what people were allowed to say. And this is something at the time that people were going, this is not a good take. Getting rid of anonymity on the internet is not a good take. And people go, but how do we stop it? I don't know. We have to somehow create a culture. We have to somehow create thoughts and communities around ourselves where we can go and gather with others, okay, and share in that kind of, collective, not collectivist, collective mindset of here's our morals, here's what we like, and we basically just shun people, right? Bullying works. You tell people, hey, stop being a D-bag on the internet. And it's absolutely, Jordan Peterson is a broken man. The cancel campaigns against him genuinely broke his psyche. I haven't really followed him since like a year before even any of that came out, because he was like saying like all this stuff that people are like, oh my God, this is incredible. And I'm like, I figured this out when I was in my early 20s, but I was also married, had 4 children, owned a house, like worked, anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week. So bullying got you a goat. It got me 2 goats. Okay, so stop lying, first of all, and screw you people. Moving on.
Whether because of a specific event or some kind of individual catalyst, once in a while, things in the background end up in the spotlight. And today, that seems to be precisely what's happening. None of what I'm going to talk about today is new, strictly speaking. Pretty much everything I'm going to mention has been developing over the span of several years, in fact.
Well, and it's also been tried before, too. This has also been tried so many times before. It's absolutely insane. I was watching somebody the other day who was talking about Dee Snider getting pulled in front of Congress, making them look like absolute jackwagons back in the 1980s.
But with a perfect storm of oddly coinciding enforcement measures, the war against the internet is more obvious than ever before. And I think it's worth doing a sort of top-down overview of what's happening and why, because I don't think a lot of people are fully aware of just how far and fast the implications are spreading. First things first, as in the load-bearing pillar of why people are talking about this so much right now to begin with. First is the Online Safety Act, which was passed originally in 2023 and is now being enforced by Ofcom, the Office of Communications Regulation arm of the UK government, in 2025. Just to be clear, I am not an expert on UK politics or government structure, okay?
And
I'm doing an...
Again, this is something that the UK... Also, who pointed it out? I was listening to somebody the other day. They kind of pointed out, they're like, isn't it funny how right as a lot of UK citizens are standing up against what their government is doing, passes this Child Online Safety Act right when that happens, and then all of a sudden, the videos of people just standing out in the streets saying, hey, we're British or UK citizens, and you're going to listen to us, are getting censored online. And now you have to share your information, your private information, and in many cases, your biometric data by face scans or whatever, in order to access that. If you think that they are not cataloging you in a database somewhere, which is exactly what they're doing, to figure out who's watching what, you've got another thing coming.
Overly simplified version right now because there's a whole lot more to talk about after this part. But if I do get something wrong, which I might, feel free to chime in down below in the comment section. The Online Safety Act, which is now being actively enforced in the UK, is, quote, a new set of laws that protects children and adults online, end quote. However, it's not just about children, and it never was. Children...
Okay, upper echelon, I'm sorry, you just read a new set of laws that protects children and adults online. And his next sentence is, well, it's not just about children. Well, they literally just said that, dude. Come on.
Are simply the best way to emotionally frame these new laws. Primarily aimed at social media companies and adult websites, the idea is that a lot of these platforms are specifically damaging for developing minds.
Which they are.
Running the risk right now of alienating a large portion of the audience immediately. To a degree...
I don't need protection, exactly. And I don't think that I need protection from online stuff either. Right? I think the best way to battle this is strong campaigns to tell parents to be more active in their kids' lives, right? Listen to them, do things with your family, go watch movies, start from a young age. Don't give your kids a fucking cell phone at 10 years old. What are you doing? Kids don't even have a base understanding of the minimal knowledge that they need to enter society in. Why are you handing them a tool that gives them access to the world's knowledge, to the world's information? They're not ready for that.
I think most rational people can sort of get on board with that. TikTok dramatically lowers attention spans. Instagram dramatically reduces happiness and overall self-worth. Pornography has a whole host of damaging effects associated with it that I'm not even going to go into right now. And the idea of regulating these platforms in some type of way is actually insanely popular. As per United States survey data from YouGov in January of 2025, 57% of Americans think that social media needs more regulation, while just 15% believe less. Long story short, something does need to be done.
Okay, the only regulation, and I waffle back and forth because it goes around marketing, but again, how do you do it? Because most of social media is just a marketing platform. That's all they are. They're just marketing platforms. So the only sort of regulation is be like, hey, you can't directly make algorithms that, emotionally manipulate people anymore. But that's like their whole jam. That's marketing. That's what marketing does. We just watched that stupid ass Sydney Sweeney AI video. And American Eagle got flack because they emotionally manipulated a bunch of people by using Sydney Sweeney in some jeans and some things that she said to go buy their products. I don't know how we rein this in outside of, as a society, just getting a moral fabric back again. Just agreeing, hey, maybe let's all of us just kind of agree on this one thing. I have
Except
no
when we start talking about governmental regulation, there's this pesky little problem that very often shows up called the slippery slope. The Online Safety Act, which is now being enforced in the UK, is branded, in theory, as a protection mechanism for children who shouldn't be exposed to certain types of online content. But in practice, it's a whole lot more invasive than that. Far from just the adult entertainment platforms, which, by the way, I'm not even going to focus on for today. That's a whole separate mind.
And that is kind of a separate topic, but it's not even just those. Like, it's Twitter, it's Facebook, it's YouTube. You can go find a ton of videos out there talking about all of the debaucherous things that are just right in front of kids on a lot of these platforms. And instead of parents being parents and saying, hey, don't look at this stuff, like, you know, it's damaging it, just be honest with your kids. Like, it's not that hard. Be like, hey, seeing this stuff is going to damage your young brain. Your brain's not going to process it properly. There's age-appropriate stuff. There's things that you can do. But like this, you got to just avoid the certain things because these are the things, you know, again, we've gotten into a point where more and more and more lazy parents are handing off all of their parental rights to the government. And this is the problem.
These new regulations are affecting a host of additional websites, such as Discord. Partnering up with a company called KID, Discord now requires users in the UK to either scan their faces or their photo ID and verify with this third party that they're above the proper age.
And before anybody's like, oh, Discord's an evil company. One, they're evil for a whole lot more reasons than this. And two, if Discord wants to stay active in one of the largest markets in the world, they have to do this. They legitimately do not have a choice, or they will be fined a metric crap ton of money and then shut down in that in all of those countries
in order to access the service. Discord certainly has its dangers, no doubt about that, like being a content distribution network for malware in a lot of cases. But if we're talking about online safety aimed at children specifically, forcing every single person who uses Discord to scan their face or their driver's license suddenly starts feeling a little bit like slippery. What about Spotify? Yeah, under these very far-reaching new online verification laws in the UK, many people are being locked out of their Spotify accounts until they scan their faces or upload IDs. And this time it's partnered with a company called Yachty. So far that's only two, but keep in mind this is now two companies you've never heard of and previously never interacted with, Yachty and KID, who are now processing your facial scans or official documents. Once again, framing this type of digital verification procedure as necessary under the guise of protecting children from adult websites.
Now think about how far this goes. Think about how far this goes in the idea that, let's say, here in America, you want to go out and buy a perfectly legal item, maybe a firearm. Well, we consider that item to be an 18-plus item. Therefore, you're going to try to swipe your card, and a little blip is going to pop up on your phone, and it's going to say Visa would like to verify that you are over the age of 18, even though the dude standing directly in front of you has probably already checked your ID. What they're going to do is they're going to say, well, it's too hard to separate those that are in the store versus those that aren't in the store. So we're just going to make everybody. It's just the processing power. We as companies, it's just too difficult. So guys, it'll just be fine. You go in and just scan your face every time you make a purchase in a store. And if something comes up on a grocery list, it'll just ping it. You're just going to scan your face. We'll approve the transaction. You leave with your groceries. If you think that this isn't where that goes, you're nuts. This is exactly where that goes.
One thing, but the picture starts rapidly changing when it begins creeping all the way to something like Spotify. How about more, such as Reddit? Yes, it turns out that Reddit is also part of this, using a company called Persona to process facial scans and official IDs, which is yet another third party that has critical, confidential, and biometric data on its user base now. Yep. What about Twitter? Yes, Twitter as well. Yep. This time through a company called Authentics, which they've already done prior to this with the Twitter Blue program to a certain degree. But what if I told you that Authentics, discovered in 2024, had a...
A lot. So, for instance, like with YouTube, when I wanted to monetize my channel, I had to send in a bunch of information to verify that I was who I said I was, because I was effectively going to be collecting money from YouTube. In that sense, for somebody who is, and the way that you do that, you have to be of a certain age, so on and so forth. You've got to verify that you've got a bank account. This can't be a fraud thing. Stuff like that, I kind of understand, because when you get hired for a job, they want to verify your identity. They want to make sure that you're not stealing somebody's identity, so that way you're not and potentially harming that person's like credit or their social security stuff or anything like that, right? I do understand that when there is a financial transaction happening. So for like Twitter Blue, I get it. But for just perusing, window shopping, or looking at God knows whatever, this gets really, really scummy really fast.
Data breach that persisted for over a year, exposing license photos to the online world. I certainly have my gripes with Twitter. It's a monument of humanity's intellectual failure, to be honest. But previously, if you wanted to, the site could be browsed without giving your sensitive information over to a third party and facial scans to an insecure, unknown company.
1,000%.
The framing was adult content websites, pornography. But the practice is everything from Discord to Spotify and all sorts of additional social platforms on top of it.
The reason is because you can, like, adult content is on all of those platforms.
That. Here's the thing, though. While the UK is certainly catalyzing a broader discussion right now online, it's far from the only country doing it. Switching over to Australia, there's a law that's been in the works for years.
T-approved leaks will happen. How about Sony? How about Apple? How about, I don't know, any major tech company in the last 5 years that have had absolutely insane leaks of private user information? Like, it is so funny because the internet's memory is about as long as a goldfish. Once it's no longer a story in the news, people forget. Yeah, T was, and people go, but T, oh no, but T, they didn't have any protections. Yeah. Oh yeah, Sony forgot about that. Yeah. What's up, Prince? What's going on? I forgot to inform you that your request to enter Orc City has been denied. Dude, I ain't about that. That's, nope. No, I don't want to go into that city. That sounds like it smells like all kinds of funk. It sounds like that smells like rotten fish and body odor. And I want nothing to do with Orc City. And possibly whatever dental plaque smells like when it gets to that point.
Now, broken down across 2 separate parts, which is perhaps even more invasive. Part 1 is an amendment of the 2021 Online Safety Act, which implements various restrictions on social media, kind of similar when compared to the UK, this time aimed at users under 16 years old instead of 13. But Part 2, which would come into effect in December of 2025.
So it's so funny. With as much information as these companies have about all of us. What was it? It was, the story came out years ago. Target knew about a young girl who was pregnant before, like a teenage girl who was pregnant before her father knew about it, and was starting to send like mailers to the house for like pregnancy stuff. And the dad got really mad. Turns out, because of the way that online data works, they know more about you than you do most of the time, or than your family does most of the time. Would it not be possible for these companies to say, what we're going to do is we are going to pour like $1 bajillion behind reminding parents when they get on our apps, hey, we know, do you have children in the house? Maybe you should double check what they're seeing. We want to make sure that our platform is safe for them, but we need your help, parents. Please see what your kids are seeing. Help us make our platform better. They could just do that because they already know. Facebook knows how many kids I have. Twitter knows how many kids I have. YouTube knows how many kids I have. And I'm not just talking about the audiences or the people that I talk to on them. I'm saying the actual companies know this. You're telling me they couldn't put money into a Be a Better Parent thing? Like, I would be okay with that kind of propaganda. Be like, And they could do some heartbreaking story. It's like this kid was exposed to horrible stuff. And sadly, they're not here anymore. Please check up on your children. See what they're seeing online, right? They could do this, but they don't.
Aims to require that search engines verify age through facial scans or official documents before you can actually use them. Remember, most people are on board with the idea that social media needs to be somewhat regulated. The original framing of these laws, at least in the UK and the United States, though I haven't gotten to that part yet, the original framing centers on adult websites.
Absolutely.
But the slippery slope argument has never appeared more true.
But when every website out there has adult content on it, or maybe not XXX content, but definitely 18 plus content, then every website, every social media website, Spotify, anything, if it's all 18 plus, every one of them gets affected. All of them.
True than it does right now, as the practical reality sets in and we see everything from music to social community platforms and even search engines becoming the targets. Mm-hmm. It's not just Australia either. The Philippines now has a very similar law being proposed, seems to be a watered down version of what Australia is doing in particular, called SB 40, regulating the use of social media platforms by minors, proposed on July 2nd, where we could see, quote, referencing Australia, taking inspiration from this model and in adherence to our state's declared policy of promoting and protecting the mental and...
Yeah, the old, it's 10 p.m., do you know where your children are kind of campaign. Exactly. They constantly ran those back in the day. Why don't we do it now? Hey, does your child have a smartphone? Maybe check to see what they're viewing on it. Here's a helpful app that you can put onto your child's smartphone to help you monitor what they're watching. Make sure that you help us keep your children safe.
Emotional well-being of its children. This bill is being proposed to protect Filipino children below 18 years old from online risks and harmful content by prohibiting minors from accessing or using social media platforms. Under the bill, minors shall be prohibited from accessing or using social media services. End quote. So first, it's the UK, 13 and under, but suddenly creeping far beyond the original scope of what they claimed. Then it's Australia, where the age is now 16, and the attempted verification procedures now encompass search engines, not just Discord and Spotify and Reddit. But then it's the Philippines, and the age is even higher, 18 this time. I don't know about you.
Keep in mind, he keeps saying search engines. Google, Brave, what's another one? DuckDuckGo, Opera GX, right? What are a few other ones? Search engines have adult content on them. So guys, just make sure before you go online to search for, the next DeWalt, battery that you need for your power drill, you scan your face because we need to know. Just in case you come across something bad, we need to know who's searching for it, guys.
But I see a very clear and consistent trend emerging, which isn't stopping where it should stop. All the way across the world, much closer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Microsoft made Bing. I forgot about that one. So did everybody else.
Closer to home for me personally. America obviously has its own version of these laws, right? Mm-hmm. They've been in development for a while, called KOSA, K-O-S-A, the Kids Online Safety Act. And it's been making its way slowly through the system for quite a while now. But KOSA is a little bit different. There's currently a misconception, though I don't blame anyone for having it, that the Kids Online Safety Act in America will require ID verification to browse websites, similar to the UK or Australia or whatever. But that doesn't actually seem to be the case. As per the language in the bill, it's not the case. However, what it does talk about is a study being required on, quote, the benefits of creating a device or operating system level age verification system. And then below, quote again, what information may need to be collected to create this type of age verification system, end quote. Which means, no, it's not in the bill right now, if you want to technically fact check that idea, but it's probably going to be a thing soon after, almost certainly.
It's a thing now. What just because the bill thing soon after, it's a thing now. See, this is I love Upper Echelon's videos because of the information that he provides. His phrasings a lot of the time, I'm just like, I don't know. But anyway,
doesn't require it today. that doesn't mean that websites won't do it sooner. Check this out. From YouTube's own blog, as of just a couple days ago, quote, extending our built-in protections to more teens on YouTube. We will use AI to interpret a variety of signals that help us determine whether a user is over or under 18. These signals include the types of videos a user is searching for, the categories of videos they have watched, or the longevity of the account, end quote.
I have less of a problem with this. Ram, what's going on? I have less of a problem with this than scanning your face or sharing your ID with all of your personal information on it. Because basically, that's just old school marketing. Oh, you bought this? Maybe you'd like this. And it's like, oh, we definitely have an idea of what this age group is watching. So what we're going to do is we're really going to work to just protect this stuff from that age group. Which they should have already been doing because YouTube said that that's what they were already doing. Were you not doing that, YouTube?
That's a bit of a different flavor, sure, but the usage of AI to monitor what you do and determine your age as a result, thereby restricting what you can do or see.
And if it falsely flags you as a child when you're an adult, because maybe you're just like, oh, this is a really interesting video that I'm going to watch about Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I watched it. And all of a sudden, why did it blip out? And all of a sudden, you are now flagged as the account. And they're like, well, now you have to verify your age. Now you have to verify your age. Hold on, waiting for it to go back. Don't know why my internet is dying. All right.
It's definitely a little bit further than most people are intending when they agree with the concept of protecting the children from problematic websites. The thing is, though, YouTube already does far more than what most people are ever aware of. Here's another blog post from back in 2023 this time. Quote, working with the advisory committee, we identified categories of content that may be innocuous as a single video, but could be problematic for some teens if viewed in repetition. These categories include content that compares physical features and idealizes some types over others, idealizes specific fitness levels or body weights, or displays social aggression in the form of non-contact fights and intimidation, end quote. Then for
so nuisance streamers, and you're not allowed to, and yeah. Oh, Upper Shill. What he going on about now? Upper Shill? The war against the internet and basically the campaign from governments and online everything to censor the internet and gather your biometric data and share your personal information.
Further down, quote again, we're now limiting repeated recommendations of videos related to those topics for teens in the United States, with more countries to be added over the next year, end quote. Just think about that beyond the surface level perspective of protect the children for a second, right? Content that idealizes specific fitness levels.
This is not a coincidence that they're, doing this at once. It's a last-ditch effort to censor the control of the internet. Yeah, it's online. It's online book burning is what it is.
So like a bodybuilder, a gym bro who's talking about how being ripped is the best thing ever in the world. YouTube appears to be restricting and specifically modifying how much it recommends that type of content already to preserve teen mental health, which then requires the question to be asked, who is making these decisions about what fitness level should be deliberately suppressed? What exactly are we doing here? Are we coddling the feelings of the person who doesn't ever want?
That was also at the time when every size is beautiful. We're not allowed to tell somebody that they're fat and it's unhealthy for them.
To put down the fork?
Because it is unhealthy for them.
Or what's happening with that?
It's like me. I drink too much beer and I smoke too many cigarettes. That's unhealthy. That's not a good lifestyle decision. I'm aware of this. Kind of happen to enjoy it, though. That's my problem. And if somebody was like, yeah, you're also an idiot for doing that, they would be correct.
Also, because the rabbit hole of what YouTube and other social media companies already do to protect and manipulate is a never-ending, free-falling chasm, the United States isn't just one cohesive entity. States have their own, mostly autonomous legal environments. And as evidence of that, we can see House Bill 1126 in Mississippi. This is effectively a digital ID verification law for social media usage already, similar in size and scope to what we see in the UK. And just to be clear, this is an example of what's happening, not the only instance. As of January 1st, 2025, Florida passed HB 3, Online Protection for Minors, which not only requires age verification for adult entertainment websites, but also has further implications for social media platforms. You can, of course, circumvent these verification procedures with a VPN, a virtual private network. And obviously one of my channel sponsors is a VPN with a special deal. So I'll link that down below for anyone who has been, or is soon to be affected by any of this. It's an easy and cost-effective solution right now. By the way, they don't keep logs and they do have a warrant canary if you care about that. But the larger discussion that we do need to have. This.
I love how he slipped that out in there, dude. And that was a really good. It was relevant to the conversation. Super good. Didn't linger on it. Said, there's some stuff affecting a lot of people. Here you go.
Is what happens if the slippery slope argument, right, is correct, which it seems to be. What happens if governments decide to pressure the internet service providers, the ISPs, into blocking VPN services entirely? Look at the search term interest on Google Trends for VPN in the United Kingdom. That's a massive increase in volume, obviously, because it circumvents the age verification stuff that people don't like. But in response, the government already said they're going to be looking, quote, very closely at how VPNs are used, end quote. Speaking to The Guardian, UK Science Secretary Peter Kyle reiterated that the vast majority of adults in the country are playing by the rules, and they had no current plans to outright ban the use of VPNs. But if we're being completely honest here, there is absolutely nothing that stops them from banning commercial service-based VPNs. The concept itself can't really be banned, but the point is that they could make it exponentially more difficult for people to access and use them as a solution.
They've been trying to ban VPNs for a while. Again, these are the arbiters of your morality, people. Right? These are the arbiters of your morality, and you will be arbitrated to by these. That's
to the current ID laws if they want to. Also, not to go on too much of a tangent here, but depending on where the commercial VPN exists that you've chosen to use, there's an intelligence sharing agreement between a bunch of Western countries. So any data that they do have probably gets shared between nations, right? When subjected to the proper legal process.
Be careful what VPN you use.
Obviously, if there's no logs, they can't share logs, but they could share that you exist as a customer or otherwise restrict access to comply with the laws. Like I said, VPNs currently circumvent the entire situation, but that isn't necessarily set in stone. Regardless, the initial catalyst might have been the UK, right? This might be the thing that got everyone talking, but there's a coinciding push right now across many separate countries to restrict the anonymity of the internet, focused on...
You know, when people say it's kind of it's a conspiracy theorist that the one world government or the globalists are all trying to work together to effectively get the citizenry to fall in line. And then all of a sudden, with about 6 months to a year, nearly, not completely, but nearly identical laws start getting put through in multiple different countries all at the same time, with language that is very similar to each other. It's kind of weird how that works.
Far more than just the adult entertainment sector, even though that's what they say it's focused on. The slippery slope is on full display. And once we understand that the gears of government turn very slowly, and that these things already have been worked on for upwards of 3 to 4 years, then we have to realize that the war against the internet isn't just beginning. It's being waged for a long time. We're just now starting to see some of the missiles come down. I don't know where it goes from here, other than increasingly restrictive ID verification procedures across all sorts of websites and platforms that we didn't initially expect, each one requiring their own third-party confirmation,
I agree,
which means more and more of your data spread across more and more companies with an ultimate agenda of who knows. I certainly have theories about that, but that's a different video. That's it. If you want to support the channel, you can check out the links down below. Locals and Patreon, channel memberships, obviously the VPN partnership if you're interested, and more, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, question everything, and have a nice night.
So, in addition to all of that, oh God, come on, stop doing that. In addition to all of that, that he just covered, here is another very interesting thing that I saw just today on the internets as well. And this one's kind of freaking wild. From Tech for Gamers, games like GTA and Saints Row at risk of being delisted amid mass censorships. Popular retro games platforms issues warning for all gamers. All right, mass censorship has been a heated topic of discussion following the recent changes in the UK. On the gaming front, companies like Visa and MasterCard and PayPal and a few others have pressured platforms like Itch and Steam to remove games with inappropriate content. Although the situation is still developing, another platform has warned gamers that the situation could become far worse. In the future, even major AAA games could be impacted by these problems. Okay, gamers are split on the recent events. Maybe. I think the vast majority. Well, would you look at that? What would you look at, Rolando Ramirez? It's not just prawn games. It's almost like we all knew this. Many believe the titles should not be outright delisted since this can go against the principles of freedom of speech. You know what I thought about too? Do you guys remember the Punisher game from back in the day? Do you guys remember that game that was like intensely gory? Yeah, that would also fall under this. According to Gaming Linux, Zoom Platform, a retro games seller, has recently faced problems with payments similar to itch.io. The platform claims to have been contacted about concerns about the type of content available on their site, after which it being discussed with PayPal and Stripe to reach a mutual agreement. PayPal and Stripe. Oh boy. Mortal Kombat? Yeah. Zoom Platform does not currently intend to remove any available content and has already begun exploring alternate payment options. However, the retro game seller believes this is just the beginning. Yeah. Notice how at the same time they're trying to ban this from MasterCard, Visa, and all these payment platforms that are absolutely in league with what the governments are doing. The governments are also trying to pass legislation and laws to ban this stuff so that way other payment platforms can't rise up in more of the free market sense of the word and try to say, we're going to offer this service. They don't like what you guys are doing, we're going to offer it. And governments are going to say, that's just illegal now. It warns that franchises like Grand Theft Auto, Duke Nukem, and Saints Row are potentially at risk. Duke fucking Nukem? Among these IPs, Grand Theft Auto would be the biggest target since this series has a history of being controversial due to its satirical and over-the-top nature. Well, that's one way to say it. With GTA 6 on track to launch next year, the game could face problems as the new approach to censorship continues to expand and evolve. Dude, there's like estimates I'm seeing out there. They're expecting Grand Theft Auto 6 to make like $3 billion in like its first week or something like that. It is absolutely insane. Yeah, The Witcher series, Cyberpunk 2077, Mass Effect, a lot of RPGs. Elsewhere in the UK has mandated facial recognition and age verification. We just watched that video from Upper Echelon for access to various types of content. Even NVIDIA's PC application now demands age verification for those looking to adjust their settings. Okay. What do you think about GTA 6 being impacted by the wave of mass censorship? I think that they're going to make enough money that they're not going to be looked at. They're going to, well, of course, the GDP of countries is going to grow when that game launches. It's going to be stupid. Okay? And they go, well, of course we don't need GTA 6. They make us way too much money. I think that's what they're going to do, guys. This is so unbelievably massive that I don't think a lot of people get it. We get it here because we're tapped in. We see this stuff going on and we're just like, whoa, no. I don't think people, I think there are still a lot of people, because you got to understand, there's a lot of people who just aren't online as much as we are, and also are not online in the places that we are online. And those people are not paying attention to these issues. They are not understanding how absolutely insane it's going to get with all of this stuff.